few safety rules before we enter the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Please keep all hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the truck at all times and remain seated. Come on, truck. Secondly, you are allowed to take photos and videos, but please hold on tight to those phones and cameras. If you drop them, we are not allowed to stop to pick them up, so unless you want a monkey going through your emails, keep a tight grip. Thirdly, I know it can be exciting to see these animals, but please don't make any animal noises towards them or call out to them. We're passing through their house. You wouldn't go into someone's house and yell at them, maybe if they were your cousins or something, but you know what I mean. There is an animal spotting guide above you, but I am an animal spotting guy, and I will do my job to make sure you don't need that guide at all. Alright, well, you guys know my name, but I don't know any of your names. How about on the count of 3, you tell me your name? 1, 2, 3.
Joe.
Alright, I already feel so much closer to all of you already, so we're gonna get going. The first area we're going to be entering is called Little Ituri Forest, and a lot of the animals in Little Ituri Forest have developed the ability to hide very well. But if we're lucky, we just might find one or two, and my luck is usually pretty good. Over on the right, it looks like there's an okapi over there. And okapis might look a little bit like zebras with those markings on their hind legs and butt. But they're actually more closely related to giraffes, because both okapis and giraffes have a prehensile tongue that they use to reach leaves that are a little bit higher up. They're also very shy and reclusive, and because of this, they weren't actually discovered until around 1901. Over on the left is one of Little Ituri Forest's many watering holes, and lots of animals like to use it. Let's see. Like it, but make sure you have those phones ready, folks. We will be able to stop for some animals on our adventure today, but sadly not all of them. As much as I'd like to, I also don't want you guys to be on this truck for 40 minutes. So make sure you're ready to snap those pictures. Over on the right are some animals. Up against the wall there, those orange-colored animals with the horns are bongos. And bongos are also known as ghosts of the forest because of how often they like to remain out of sight. They use those backwards leaning horns to get under thick and thorny underbrush. This animal over here to the right is a female greater kudu. We know it's a female because it doesn't have horns. And it's called a greater kudu for a reason. Greater kudu are one of the tallest antelope species on the reserve, being about 55 inches tall at the shoulder. Heading out of Little Ituri Forest, we'll be entering Safi River, which is where some of the more aquatic animals on the reserve like to live. Is this anybody's first safari?
Nope.
Ooh, all right. Me too. Coming up on the right is another watering hole. Now, out in the African savanna, over 100 different species of animal can use a single watering hole, which means that if even one watering hole is affected by water pollution, it can affect animals just like that Nile hippo over on the right. But friends on the left, please do not stand up. I believe that there are more Nile hippos coming up on the left. And getting a good picture of a hippo is never worth getting a bump on the head. Instead, you could look at those vultures over there on the right, performing some sort of evil ritual. Just imagine like Temple of Doom music playing over them. The vultures are unofficial members of the reserve, so we don't have to care about them as much. Just kidding. Over on the left are some more feathered friends using the watering hole. We're just holding for a little sec, friends, because I do see another one of our trucks up ahead, and we don't like to get too crowded up on the reserve. I do think we're good, so we're going to head forward. But going holy, which is Swahili for a little slowly. These feathered friends over on the first island with the white feathers and the large thick beaks are pink-backed pelicans. And pink-backed pelicans get their name because of the pink markings on their back, which only get brighter during mating season. They also mate for life, live together in large groups, and when they eat, they like to do so in quiet backwaters. Alright, we're gonna pull ahead a little more, friends. Enjoy that fishy smell.
That guy.
Looks like we're about to join that truck up ahead and cross over a bridge I like to call Croc Bridge. And you'll find out why if you look over on the left. There are some Nile crocodile. And Nile crocodile might look a little scary and scaly, but they're actually really good parents. When their eggs are about to hatch, Mom and Dad will roll those eggs around in their mouth to help the little ones get out of their shell. And when the baby crocodiles grow up, they can be an impressive 18 feet long. So don't make fun of a baby crocodile, folks. They'll have the last laugh. Of course, I don't know why you'd be making fun of the baby crocodile in the first place, but that's your problem, not mine. For any parents with very small ones who want to make sure they see everything, it is okay to sit them on your lap. Just make sure that they stay facing forward on your lap the entire time. Swimming away from Safi River, we'll be entering the largest area on the savannah. Actually, well, I kind of spoiled it for you. It's the savannah. The savannah is home to some of Africa's most well-known animals, such as the elephant and the giraffe. Another symbol of the savannah over on the right. This gnarly-looking tree is a baobab tree. And baobab trees are incredibly resilient. They can live up to 2,000 years. Most baobab trees can even go up to 9 months without any leaves on their branches. Very scandalous. Now, as we get a better look at the savannah, you might notice that there are a lot less trees here than there were in Little Ituri Forest. But the ecosystem and the animals work together so well that with only one tree, a giraffe can eat from the very top, zebras can graze from the bottom, and elephants can knock that tree over to make room for more animals and more trees. And hopefully we see a few of those animals I just spoke into existence because I am an animal lizard. It is a gorgeous day out here at the savannah, so I'm sure we will see a few friends out and about. Now, outside of Animal Kingdom, the actual African savanna stretches on for about 100 miles. And this reserve is so large, not even the rest of Animal Kingdom, but just this reserve is so large that you can fit all of Magic Kingdom inside of it. That's just a fun fact. All right. Over on the left, if you look over there, you're going to see some... Oh, exactly. Is there something?
They're hiding the dogs.
Let me see if we get a little closer. I don't see anything.
Back in their caves? Oh, they're there.
Yep, there they are. There's
the dog.
Painted dogs over there by their den. And painted dogs get their name because of their coats, which makes it look like they've been splattered with paint. They make calls to each other that are pretty unique too, some of them sounding more like high-pitched chirps than barking noises. But even though they are dogs, do not be mistaken, folks, they cannot be domesticated. So don't send them to obedience school, they will not appreciate it at all. Over on the left, I believe we have... Over there, that tan-colored antelope is an eland, or a Patterson's eland, and further back, the animals with the longer, thinner horns are sable antelope. And sable antelope are actually the emblem of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. You might have seen one on that sign at the beginning. But these animals that are coming up in front of us with the very big, thick horns are Ankoli cattle. And Ankoli cattle are also known as Watusi cattle, named after the group of people that domesticated them. Those cool-looking horns on their head actually act as a cooling system for them. When it gets really hot, blood flows through those horns and allows the animals to give off that extra heat that's collected over the day. And those horns on their head weigh a combined 15 pounds altogether. So imagine the headache they must have. We're gonna press on at a brisk 8 miles per hour. Now over in front of us and on the right, you're going to see a little tan-colored animal. That That is a springbuck. And springbuck have spring in their name for a reason. They can jump up to 6 feet in the air from a standing position. They have a spring in their step too. They can run up to 50 to 60 miles per hour in only 3 seconds. Actually, scratch that. Just in general, they can run up to 50 to 60 miles per hour, making them one of the world's top 10 fastest animals. And that's pretty cool. Alright, now it does look like there's a little bit of an animal stop up ahead, but not to worry, friends. We got some animals up ahead that we can see. Those gray animals that are in front of us, we'll get a little closer look at them in a second, but they are wildebeest. We're going to hold for just a second here, friends. Animal stops like this happen quite frequently on the reserve. They are, of course, live animals, so they can do whatever they want. And sometimes what they want to do is get right in the way of our trucks. Which is, you know, just something you gotta deal with. I will say it's a little more interesting than getting stuck on Small World. So.
Gonna come around the side.
As long as you don't start singing to us.
Exactly. There are several animals that play important parts in keeping everything working together, and they're called keystone species. And one of those keystone species is a giraffe. And giraffes are keystone species because when they go from tree to tree eating leaves, they actually pollinate too. Because they get pollen and leaves and seeds all stuck on their head when they eat at one tree. And then they go to other trees. And speaking of giraffes, right over here on the left is one of the giraffes. Giraffes are hard to miss. They are the tallest land animal in the world, being about 18 to 20 feet tall. And specifically, all the giraffes found on the reserve are Maasai giraffes. And Maasai giraffes are special because, as you can see, they have those unique shapes and patterns covering their body. Much like humans and their fingerprints, no two Maasai giraffes have the same pattern, which makes it really hard for giraffes to commit identity theft. You might see those giraffes and the giraffes that we see up ahead using their long purple tongues to eat leaves. And the reason a giraffe's tongue is purple is actually to help protect it from getting sunburnt. After all, if you were sticking your tongue out all day to eat leaves, you wouldn't want it to get a nasty sunburn. That would not be fun. Alright, we're going to keep moving. Thank you folks for being patient. Trust me, when it comes to animal stops, that one was not long at all. When giraffes give birth, the babies can start walking within 15 minutes. Unfortunately, the first thing they remember is usually a 6-foot drop. Now, wildebeest, those animals over on the right, wildebeest means wild beast in Afrikaans. And if you keep looking to the right, you're going to see some zebra. Zebra are those spotted horse-like animals. And they might look like horses, but they actually can't neigh or whinny. Instead, they communicate by making snorting sounds to each other. They are Hartmann's mountain zebra. And all the zebra on the reserve are black with white stripes, and we know that because their noses are black. Alright. Another giraffe over on the left. Hi friends, please don't call out to the animals, remember. There they are, hanging out, right there, having a good time. Those bumps on top of a giraffe's head are called ossicones, and they use them to communicate with each other.
There's a baby one right there, see?
A group of giraffes is called a tower, and if you scare a group of giraffes, that's called a tower of terror. And a look at those zebra over on the right. Just like those Maasai giraffe, every zebra has a unique pattern of stripes, so they are all completely unique. Alright, it looks like we have some evidence of recent animal activity with these knocked over trees and debris. But I think if we keep our eyes peeled, we just might find the troublemaker that made this mess, and I think I just found them. It's those big elephants, African elephants over on the right. And African elephants are one of the heavyweights of the reserve. They can weigh up to 13,000 pounds and more. They're also easy to identify because they have ears that resemble the shape of the place they're from, that place being Africa. Over on the left there are some mandrill, And mandrill are the world's largest monkey species. Adult male mandrills can be about 100 pounds. A group of mandrills is called a troop, and those bright red and blue markings on a mandrill's face only get brighter when they get excited. And the babies are also very cute and tiny. Alright. Over on the right we can see another glimpse of that African elephant. African elephants are very intelligent. They can recognize each other based on smell alone. Try that with your friends. Looks like we're gonna cross another one of the reserve's bridges over here. This one looks a little... And if you continue to look to the right, you're gonna see some tusk marks that are dug in there. And that's because African elephants eat red clay. Now you might wonder why, but the truth is red clay contains a lot of vitamins and nutrients that African elephants need. Not that I would recommend you try it, of course. I'd stick to yogurt. Well, let's see. African elephants are very social animals, and they live together in large matriarchal groups, which means that most of the time they're led by a female elephant. Unfortunately, African elephants are very commonly targeted by poachers, mainly because of their valuable ivory tusks. But thankfully, while they're on the reserve, you don't have to worry about that. And they like to keep cool while they're here by using a mixture of mud and dirt as a sort of natural sunscreen on their very sensitive skin. And when it gets even hotter, they can use their big ears to... Pardon me? They can use their big ears to flap them in such a way that it actually lowers the temperature around them by about 15 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's pretty cool. There's another one up ahead. We're gonna make this hair-raising turn. There are also some ducks over on the left, but they're perfectly normal ducks. I don't really have any cool facts about them. But if you keep looking to the left, you're going to see some flamingos. And flamingos, these are greater flamingos, and greater flamingos are the lightest shade of pink out of all flamingo species on Earth. They get that interesting looking pink color from all the brine shrimp they eat, which contains something called beta-carotene. Now, baby flamingos take about 1 to 2 years to eat that, to get that color. So before then, they're all gray and fluffy. They're absolutely adorable. As you can see, flamingos like to travel together in large groups. In fact, some flamingo groups even number the thousands. And a group of flamingos is known as a flamboyance. One more fun fact about flamingos, standing on one leg is a learned behavior for them. So if a flamingo was raised by humans, it would stand on 2 legs all the time. Unless those humans also stood on 1 leg, but that would be weird. Okay. We got some more evidence of recent animal activity over on the left with these big puddles of mud.
That's a rhino.
They're actually called mud wallows. And over on the left, it looks like there's a white rhino over there. And white rhinos are a little bit larger than black rhinos. They can be about 5,000 pounds and also run up to 35 miles per hour. We're going to be able to get a little bit of a closer look at it as we come around. On the right are ostriches. And ostriches are the world's largest bird. They are flightless, but they can also run up to 40 miles an hour, so that's pretty cool. They've been a bunch of troublemakers today, though, so we're not gonna stick around them too long. But we can see those white rhino over on the left. There they are. Now, the difference between a white rhino and a black rhino is actually in their upper lip. White rhinos have a flatter, wider upper lip, while black rhinos have a rounder one that they can control to reach leaves that are higher up. If you keep looking over on the left, you're going to actually see some cheetah lying down on the ground. Cheetah are those spotted animals over there. And cheetahs are the world's fastest land mammal. They can reach speeds of up to 50 to 60 miles per hour in only 3 seconds. Now, they can't really maintain that speed, so they're more of a sprinter than a marathon runner. But regardless, they can even use their tails to help them steer when they're reaching those almost uncontrollable velocities. Some people believe that the reason cheetahs can run so fast is because their body is more like a dog's than a cat's. But make no mistake, friends, cheetahs are 100% big cat. Let's see. Oh, over on the left, as we come around, you're going to see a male African lion up on the rocks. Now, the lions have been asleep for a lot of the day because African lions are actually nocturnal animals. They sleep for up to 16 to 20 hours a day. And I mean, I do that too, but I don't brag about it. When they're not sleeping, male African lions make sure the pride is happy and safe. And female lions go out in large groups to hunt prey. African lions can actually eat up to 20% their body weight in a single meal. And they burn through those calories so quickly that they can do it multiple times in a row. If you look over on the right, this animal with the white markings and horns is a bontebok. And it's always good to see a bontebok because at one point in history there were less than 20 bontebok left in the world. If it wasn't for a very dedicated farmer who made a concentrated conservation effort, the bontebok would be completely extinct. It just goes to show you conservation can start with just a single person. There are more white rhinos over on the right and a female lion over on the left. Lion is here. An African lion's roar can be heard from up to 6 miles away. And as for those white rhinos, they don't have the best sense of sight, but they make up for that with a great sense of smell and hearing. They can actually flick their ears in up to 180 degrees in different directions. On the left, under that tree there's a warthog.
Look at that big thing.
Warthogs are one of the world's largest burrowing animals. They use those bottom 2 tusks to dig those holes, and they use the top 2 to defend themselves and their family from any intruders. They like to enter their burrows butt first when it's time to sleep, so they can have their tusks to protect them from any attackers or predators. Over on the right, you can see those rhinos and that ostrich. And that bontebok. Looks like the animals are all gathering together to have a little party. You can even see some ostrich eggs over there on the right. And ostrich eggs are incredibly durable. Their shells are so strong that an adult male could stand on one without breaking it. But don't go trying that with a chicken egg, you will get different results. Trust me, I've tried. Up ahead is the warden's post. It's where some people like to stay to research and study the animals found on the reserve. But it looks like while the warden was away, a couple of animals have moved in. If you look over on the left, you're going to see some Nigerian dwarf goats. And Nigerian dwarf goats are actually one of the few domesticated animals on the reserve. They're used as dairy goats throughout the world. And you might have noticed I did say dwarf goats, and those are not babies, folks. Those are full-grown adults. They also play an important part in creating a balanced ecosystem because they eat those tough roots and weeds that other animals just don't have the stomach for. Literally. Now sadly, those adorable goats do signal that we are just about reaching the end of our safari adventure. But if you want to see some more cool animals and learn some facts about conservation, I would recommend heading over to the Maharaja Jungle Trek in Asia, or Gorilla Falls, which is right over here in Africa. Both of these are nature walks where you can move at your own pace and see some animals that aren't found on the reserve. Animals like gorillas, meerkats, and tigers. For any wilderness explorers on board, this truck's name is Simba 1. And you can tell them that at the station right in front of the entrance to this ride. If you're interested in checking out some animals that aren't quite walking around, you can look up at the Tree of Life. There are over 100 animals carved onto its trunk and its branches. Alright, now you guys are cool guests. Cooler than cool, actually, so you're going to stick around with me a little bit longer to get back to that dock that you originally got on. Looks like our warden friends are going to give us a little bit of a shortcut here, though, so we'll be sure to give them a nice little wave.